I did not, in the interest of time, and this is my closing remark, I did not put the actual voices of parents in here. Just wanted to summarize the parents that I work with and who have children in black schools as well as in schools that are desegregated. They really decry racism in those schools. Even those who don't send their kids in there. I said, my kid will never go in there. I don't care if those schools have resources. But the volume of racism there is just too much. And some partners were talking about microaggression. That is what is going on in the schools, where teachers calling black students names, you black kid, parents meeting. This actually struck me that on Wednesday, the white school principal would say it's a parents meeting for white parents. And on Thursday, it's going to be a school meeting for black parents, if their school is a segregated school. So that's how racism actually played itself out there. And in terms of the classroom, segregation was white kids because they know Afrikaans. The proxy was, no, this class is going to do more Afrikaans, and the other one will be doing more English. So obviously, black kids will be in the English class, whereas the one who will be in the Afrikaans class will be white kids. And again, seeing that, the resurfacing of classroom segregation. As I conclude, I just want to make a little comparison between these two countries, as my work has evolved now into looking at the comparative aspects of what the United States and South Africa do in terms of issues of race and racism. And in both countries, really, there is racial violence. And to a large extent, the genocide. The previous panel here was talking about mascots. People who were here for the previous panel. And those mascots now in South Africa. And, things that, it just comes with that globalization and how that is being perpetuated. And both countries, the United States, you see neoliberal policies in education, the growth of private schools, charter schools, some that do not allow access to parents from poor neighborhoods. And in South Africa, you have a growing number of parents who call themselves that they are the poorest with an S, to show that, or to symbolize the number of people who are being affected by these policies. And not to mention of immigration and xenophobia in the United States. Again, the Trumpian discourse on xenophobia, Mexico, and South Africa does the same too. If you look at immigrants coming from South African countries, those who have seen in 2008 how we killed immigrants coming in, and then it came back in 2014, it came back again. So that's xenophobia in this. At this point, I just argue that having grown up in seeing people mobilizing the people's education, and I don't claim that I was a leader, just to be part of that space. But when you look at it now, you see how those have fractured, in terms of like saying, wow, we have now gained independence. There is no need anymore to fight for social justice. And of course, in the United States, you see the rise of the white supremacy. I want to just end by saying one last comment about the Black Lives Matter, which I was so proud of UTSA students forming the chapter on campus, in a campus that sometimes may not allow those kind of spaces. But Black Lives Matter is very important when we see how Black people are being killed, and it's a message to say that This is not starting now. It has been being perpetuated for many, many years of slavery. In fact, my colleagues who presented here before me reminded us all that police in the United States, they were trained to make sure that the enslaved people are kept where they are. And likewise, in South Africa, police were trained to ask for my identity and say, let's see your identity. Do you belong here? And by the way, as I was taking off to come here, my chair of Dr. Cortez reminded me, she said to me, you're going to Arizona, be sure that you take your green card with you. And I had to put my green card next to my ticket to make sure that I don't forget it. So I want to end with that. Thank you so much for listening.
We do have time for some questions before we move into our closing, which is just an open floor for people to give feedback on the event and look toward next year. So the floor is open. Go ahead.
Just want to remind everybody here that having military or law enforcement in the classroom or in the school campus is not the normal around the world. That most countries don't have that.
Thank you for coming first off, and thank you for starting this, being a part of that. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Beth.
Beth, thank you. My question was, when you first started, you showed the movie Serafina, and there was school children, and there was soldiers on their campus.
That's
Was
correct.
that a normal occurrence? All schools had soldiers with guns? That's my first question. My second question is, you said that South Africa hasn't changed much since the apartheid ended. And I'm not unsure why that is. If they changed the structure, you mentioned there was a term, I can't pronounce it, you mentioned there, that, they changed things. Why hasn't things changed so much, if that's the case? Thank you.
Yes.
So the South African school system was so complicated. There's something that's called, it's basically called apartheid education. So apartheid education is an unequal education system. So the white folks, the Indian folks, the colored folks will get that unequal. Then there's something called Bantu education that they attended. So the Bantu was the lowest of them all. So that's where the concentration of police were coming to our campus. Actually, as I made the comment that I normalized it. I thought that's what education, just as you normalize that there were no books for you in the school, you just normalize that to go to school, you have to have some paper and a pencil, and that is education. So I don't know if that answers your first question. Go ahead.
Group of people that a certain tribal, was it tribal or was it just a group of people
Right.
in the community?
Right. So
I think it's time to talk about Soweto. I would just.
right, and we could talk about Soweto. So and I wrote this alphabetical order, but if you were to look at how apartheid system racialized, this group will be on top, followed by this group, and then this group, and this will be at the end, at the last. So the people here were the ones who were, the violence was directed to them. So that's why, it's just like when in the United States, when you have the Black Lives Matter movement protesting, and that's why you get cops so much concentrated that you've been killing more people. I mean, the case of Texas in Fort Worth, where they killed, not killed, but they brutalized a kid wasn't wearing a bathing suit. I think that kid was this big, wearing a bathing suit. So this is, and I'm not saying it's the same, but you get the idea when you go to the classroom, and then you have the story of Temba, actually, who was my classmate. Not necessarily my friend that I played with, but a tough kid who was my classmate, is, you know, kind of represent the presence of soldiers in the classroom. And just to say real quick, to follow up that, when I was in Namibia to do some research, and we went to this teacher preparation program, and I saw the places where I didn't understand what they were. And somebody said, oh, this is where they used to leave the guns. And the soldiers themselves would take over and teach if the teacher was teaching communism. Right. And your number two was, I don't want to stand here and say that things haven't changed. Things have changed, but not enough. With neoliberalism coming in, to me it's kind of like we're looking at apartheid